Welcome, I'm Halcyon, and this is the Belief Buffet, part of Hug Nation. Today I'm going to be talking about gifting versus transactional charity. Or what's the difference between trying to be like Jesus versus trying to be a salesperson for the church? Why am I thinking about this? Well, I had an experience this weekend at First Saturdays, which is our local organization that gives to local needy, help people experiencing homelessness and in shelters that could just use a little bit of stuff, some clothes, some gently used clothes, some care packs of toiletries, some food, and sometimes some attention, some dignity. So we do once a month, we have these beautiful outings. And this weekend was fantastic. It was tons of people. We were joined by another group called LoveWorks. That's amazing. And we were there at Taco, which is the local, the church area that we're in. We're not a part of the church, but the church allows Taco, the Third Avenue charitable organization, to use the space when they're not using it as a church. But Taco is not a religious organization. First Saturdays, not a religious organization. Very clearly, we state that in our in our description, in our bylaws, in our incorporation. We are a non-denominational organization. Our origin is 3 high school friends coming back together after 10 years apart. One a Christian, one Jewish, and one a Burning Man guy. And realizing that what we had in common was this desire to be of service. And so we get a lot of our volunteers are people who want to be of service, but don't want to do it in a church setting. There's lots of people doing amazing work in church settings, but there's also a tendency of some of those organizations to be transactional, to say, we'd like to give you this food or this stuff, but we we're asking from you, or we're demanding of you. This is a transaction. What we need from you is you to listen to our ministry and to ideally convert and to become a follower of Jesus, accept Jesus into your heart as your Lord and Savior. And so this weekend, at the end of our event, some people came by. They were introduced to us that just started a new charity, and they just had an event just down the block, and they were giving away care packs, and they were all excited. And almost immediately upon meeting this founder of this organization, she said, once I was saved, I realized that the only way out is through Jesus. And so I have to tell everyone that. I have to make sure everyone knows. And I don't know her exact wording, but it was basically like, there is one path, and it is through Jesus. And I need to save all of these poor people by helping them find Jesus. And so she's using her gifts as a lure to bring people in so that she can give them what she knows they need, which is Jesus. And I kind of nodded, and then my face kind of started to crumple a little bit. And I said, actually our organization, we're non-denominational. You might want to talk to Jason, who is our devout Christian. Normally, I ask people not to talk about religion at our events unless a client brings it up. Like if you are having a conversation with someone that we're serving and they want to talk to you about their church or their faith, and you're also a Christian, then you can meet them in that place and talk about Jesus and whatever. But otherwise, I ask people, this is not the place for that, because I don't want to have this very common feeling of, if we're going to give you something and you pay for it by sitting through our presentation, like a timeshare thing. And ideally, we sell you, we get you signed up to purchase your place in heaven through accepting Jesus as your Savior. And so it bothered me. And I've been sitting through and thinking about why it's so bothersome for me. If someone is going to do good in the world, Do I really care what their motivation is? Not really. And that's kind of why I didn't confront her, or I didn't tell her she's doing anything wrong. I didn't try to change her opinion in any way. It doesn't have the magic that I feel from gifting, that experience of, I'm doing this because I want to see you happier. And so if it makes you happier, if it makes your day a little bit better or easier, or lightens your burden, that makes me feel good. That's it. Not, and I hope you become a Democratic voter, and I hope you become, follow Jesus or whatever. And so I'm not, anti-church. I'm not even anti if a religion helps people to find a better way to be a good person. My grandfather was a Jesus man, and he used the teachings of Jesus, and specifically the Sermon on the Mount, as his guide, as like the kind of person that I want to be in the world. He said the word Christian was like tiny Jesuses, and we want to be like tiny Jesuses. But he didn't like the word Christian because it also, in the modern world, is associated with so much activity that is not Christ-like, which is why he called himself a Jesus man. And when I think about, there's a difference between trying to be Christ-like and trying to be a promoter of the church. The problem with becoming a promoter of the church, it's too easy to fall into us-them thinking. In this woman's mind, and in often the missionary mentality, this is the only way. So it is perceived to be an act of kindness and service to convince you, get you to believe this right way, because it is the way out. As this woman said, the only way is through Jesus. But if that's the mentality, then everyone else is on the outside of your team. And the huge problem with religion in the modern world is that us-them teams. We have a blue jersey and they have a red jersey. So if you're not on team blue, you're the enemy. And we are manipulated so much through this teams, us-them thinking. And religion is, when it fails as a tool, is when it promotes that separation. I'm not saying it's all wrong. I'm not saying all Christians are wrong. I'm saying that there is a way to have faith be additive and make people better people. And there is a way that faith is manipulated and divisive. So I did not feel inspired by this woman and her charitable acts. At the same time, I don't, think that I'm perfect and the right thing. I also have compassion for someone who believes that their way is going to make someone's life better. I think about, Burning Man luckily has built-in checks. So, you cannot be promotional about it, You break the principles if you get too promotional. But I wonder if it wasn't. What if part of the 10 principles was, tell everyone? What if part of the philosophy of Burning Man was convince everyone that the 10 principles is the way? I could be a much more obnoxious person. And my zealotry would manifest maybe like this woman. I still don't think it's the only way. In fact, I frequently say Burning Man is the best tool I know, but any community that provides you with a feeling of belonging and support and encourages you to find your truth. It can be anything. It could be a church. It could be a Comic-Con community. It can be a Juggalos. So I am in this moment feeling compassion and kinship to all those who are driven to be better people, to be more of service, to show kindness to their fellow humans. At the same time, putting some caution, towards all of us, to not fall into us them mentality, or we have the right answer, because it's too dangerous to go in the totally opposite direction as the holy people that we are originally following. I think we're trying to tell us about the oneness, about the connection, about the path of love. Well, with that, I thank you for letting me think this through and figure this out and process these things. Thank you. I love you.